Most of us in society are in an echo chamber of our own thoughts. The things we consume on social media, the way that we go about living our life, the way that society has programmed us is making us weaker. And if we don't stop this soon, the very thing that we created is going to end up destroying us. So, how do you get out of this echo chamber? How do you make sure that you have a diversity of thoughts that allow you to encompass multiple perspectives? My belief is people change people. Ideas are the biggest way to start changing your life for the better, or just changing in general. How do you get ideas? Ideas generally are spearheaded by leaders. Strong leaders. If you are not one or do not consider yourself a strong leader, then you should go and hop on the bandwagon of a strong leader that you believe in. Because in my opinion, the strongest leaders are ones that forget that they're human and they stand for the idea. Their philosophy is everything. So, where do you find these people? Well, you can look around in your workplace. You'll probably find people that are exceptionally outgoing or exceptionally productive that get praise. When you're walking on the street, you can see perhaps a group of friends hanging out. Among them, you will see one person that usually gets the nod, the respect. Now, I don't say follow blindly, because that leads to an echo chamber in itself. However, if you're looking to branch out, if you're looking to become more well-rounded, you need to find people that are specialists in that thing that you're trying to get better at. YouTube is a great place to go, social media in general. There are so many resources, it's crazy. The amount of resources available to each one of us on a given day is infinite. It may make it daunting, to go out there and try to seek these things. Or a lot of people are in a position where they're thinking, well, why the hell would I go listen to someone when I want to go play video games, or I want to go and hang out with my friends, or I want to just chill here, man. I had a long day of work, leave me alone. I promise you, if you start living life just a little bit more intentionally, you are going to get everything that you want out of it. Literally everything. Now, I'm not saying there won't be moments where you don't feel down and sad, or where you're rejected. That's one thing. It's the persistence, it's the ability to deal with these things that really makes the difference. And that's where not being in an echo chamber is so important, because life is diverse, right? We are constantly having to adapt to a diverse set of circumstances. And if we don't have the tools in our back pocket, the wisdom to deal with those circumstances accurately and precisely, we're going to end up stumbling. See, like that. We're going to end up stumbling. And the reality is, a lot of us stumble and don't quite get all the way back up before another wave comes and hits us. And the reason we don't get all the way back up is because we didn't even see that stumble as a big deal. Now, there's going to be a lot of situations that come up in your life where you're not necessarily going to know how to deal with it. And when you get up, that same thing's going to come along and you won't know how to deal with it again. That's something you should know about yourself. That's a reality in your life, that one particular thing is just not something you're figuring out properly. So again, go and find someone that has figured it out. Now, this might hit you the wrong way, but in my belief, if you want to learn how to be rich, you don't learn how to be rich from a poor person. If you want to learn how to be charismatic, you don't learn how to be charismatic from someone that doesn't have any friends. If you want to learn how to be more intelligent, more efficient, you need to go and find that information from the most intelligent, efficient person that you can. Straight up. There is no way. Having a route where you go and try to figure out everything yourself, that is not the way the world currently works. In arts, sure. In creativity, sure. You still kind of have to go and forge your own path, because everything you touch is you. It's innately you. But when it comes down to prowess in society, when it comes down to actually building your worth and your power, frankly speaking, you're already about 40 years behind the person that you're trying to catch up to, right? So all of that time that they spent building themselves up in some way, perhaps you haven't done. That's fine. All that means is that you need to do what they did more efficiently. And that means recognizing where your faults are, your weaknesses. Knowing the echo chamber that you are in is the biggest fault. Without having a range, a diversity, a big understanding of the world around us, we're just going to keep walking down the same path with blinders on. And some will tell you that's the way to go. In fact, many will tell you that that's the way to go. There's so much happening in the world and it's kind of out of your control and this and that. And I've been victim to that too. I've told people, hey, I just need to keep doing this thing, doing this thing, doing this thing. The reality is I don't think life is really all that fun that way. I mean, think about it, right? The weeks that you've had the most fun, the months that you've had the most fun, it's been when you've been doing a bunch of crazy stuff that you never thought you'd be doing. Or that your attitude was particularly positive that week or month. Or that you learned something that really inspired you, right? It's not about, life is not really about that consistency all the time. Right? There's an underlying thing my mentor always says to me, stay on your one. Stay on your one in music means it always repeats, right? You come back to it. You come back to the thing that really moves you along, the thing that you love. For me, that's music. For me, that's creating in general. I love that thing. I will always do that. But when it comes down to the other things, I would say about 30% of life. When it comes down to 30% of your time, you basically have a decision to make, right? Are you going to spend that time not thinking? Are you going to turn that time off and thus be remarkably behind the people that have decided to use that time productively? Or are you going to think? Are you going to think? Sit down and think for 3 seconds, for 5 minutes, for an hour, for a day, I don't know. Sit down and think. Be like, hey, what do I really want out of my life? And that's a big question for a lot of people. What do I want out of my life? So I'll narrow it down for you. What do you want today? What do you want tomorrow? Every day is a lifetime. So if you can figure out your ideal day, that will help narrow down what you want in your ideal life, no? Think about it. And then think about the things that are holding you back, right? Why aren't you able to get those things every day? Is there a time management issue? Is there a lack of opportunity? Is it that you just don't care enough, that you lack the inspiration? If it's any of those things, you can find answers to those online. You can. The web has everything. Everything. Just a matter of you parsing it out. Saying to yourself, no, I'm not going to look at these girls dancing. Okay, I'm not going to look at, puppies. I got shit to do. And I can't do that for 30% of every single one of my days because I'm going to end up becoming a person that I really resent. And at the end of the day, you live with yourself. I know there's a lot of people that spend their time living with other people and they hardly have any time by themselves, but there are times, I guarantee you, in every creature's life where they have to sit alone and come to terms with who they are, who you are. So if you're in an echo chamber, and if you haven't realized it yet, look through your Instagram, look through your YouTube, look through things that you consistently do, and write down why you love those things, okay? And you'll end up finding similarities. My recommendation is to find things that contrast that. Once we start finding things that contrast, we can get inspired again. The depth of the pool becomes deeper. Anyway, some food for thought on a Wednesday afternoon. And if you don't know, Wednesday is the day of the Virgo. Where I picked that up, I don't know, but I'm a Virgo and I love it. So I hope you had a nice, thoughtful Wednesday. I'm about to go shoot a podcast with my homies. It's gonna be right here, in fact. So check it out. Talk a lot about emotional intelligence and other things that I believe you might find useful. Just click the link, I'll see you over there. And remember, actualize your potential.